Welcome to Ish Talkers Anonymous. I'm your host, Ed. I'm here with...
My name is Ron.
My name is Bruce.
And we're going to start off with what's going on in the world right now. I'd like to start off by saying my condolences go out to George Floyd and his family. May he rest in peace. And
We all know that there's been a divided, a division line going through our country right now with the whole protesting and the rioting because of what happened with George Floyd.
Of course.
But, we also have the pandemic going on, so there's, it's one thing on top of another at this point.
Just so many things happening all at the same time.
yeah,
But, Ed, what's your stance on the whole rioting and the protesting because of what happened?
well, I mean, I seen the... Originally, I seen the rioting and everything, and I didn't really catch the messaging. So, it didn't hit me right the first time I seen everything, and then I realized what the fuck they were saying. And it really changed how I felt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, and they're right. There needs to be shit done. I didn't realize how fucked up shit is. And then you find out that the guy that killed George Floyd was fucking training the officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a problem when you have a guy, and his record doesn't mean anything because of what happened, because what happened, and it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
An innocent black man got killed over a counterfeit $20 bill.
Yep.
Wherein he really didn't have any resistance against them getting put in the car. But,
Yeah.
and the man, the officer that, actually killed him has a complaint record of 19 different complaints.
It's 16, I believe. But it's over the course of 19 years, which is fucking crazy. So that's 3 years he went without something happening.
When you have someone like that training your future regiment of officers, you kind of have a problem there. You should not be having a man who's had that kind of record with complaints coming through about, excessive force in some manner to whoever it was, training these new guys and having them think this is how you're supposed to do it. Granted, the knee thing is a proper technique. They are trained, but it was not used in the way it's supposed to be intended.
See,
I actually saw online, there was a guy that has been a trainer of aggressive use force for the police on multiple occasions, and he's been doing it for many, many years, and he said that, at least in his line of work, that kind of way of restraining someone was never taught.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Especially since he was already on the ground, he was already handcuffed, and he was facing down, and there was no way for him to get up without the officers knowing.
Right. I mean, I think there are some departments that do train you in that technique, but it's not widely accepted or presented, I think. But I mean, regardless of the matter, he blatantly was excessive with it, and George Floyd was like, I can't breathe for 8 minutes, and then
He was also out cold for 3 of those 8 minutes.
right.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
And when he wasn't moving and wasn't breathing and had no pulse for the most part, it was 8 minutes. It was 11 minutes in total. The guy had his knee on his neck. There was so much wrong with that situation, and not one of the other officers, because they were trained by this man, said, "Hey, maybe this isn't right."
Yeah. And that doesn't excuse the fact that they didn't do anything, but it's,
And then everyone's like, "All right, well now we've had enough of the stigma, we've had enough of the oppression, so we're gonna do something about it."
Yeah. Make our voices heard, and just try to do it in a way that everyone can understand.
yeah. I'm just grateful that it seems like there's actual change being made, because so many times shit happens and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad to see that there's change actually being made.
One of the things I keep seeing is that people keep bringing up the 60s with the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. It's like, they didn't use violence to protest to get things changed. You're right, they didn't, but that was also the 60s.
Yeah, and we're still talking about it in 2020.
Right. We're still having some of those problems now in the 21st century.
Yeah. As I said, I was a little upset with seeing things on fire, and then I started listening, and I'm like, okay.
Right. Because that was 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And we still have the same problems. It's now gotten to the point where violence is being used to finally get something done. it should never have gotten to that point, but
No.
it's where we're at.
Yeah.
And peaceful protest is what everyone wants, but of course,
The cops
if you don't allow them to peacefully protest,
you're gonna
a violent protest is going to happen.
Yeah.
right. They're gonna resort to the one thing that'll actually work because they can actually fight back at that point. Because if you can't peacefully protest, it feels like you're being oppressed, and you can't breathe, and you can't fight back.
Yeah.
So that's what we've gotten to.
Yeah. We got police that have been trying to suppress from people's voices to the media's voices.
Yeah,
It's
we've had
fucking nuts.
we've had plenty of reporters doing their job, staying away from everybody, like the different police crews and everything, and they're still getting arrested or still getting shot at and tackled. It's like, it's nuts. It's way out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was, I told you earlier, Ed, about the picture floating around on Twitter of the Austin Police Department, where they've got a bunch of thank you and appreciation cards. All of those cards are written by the same person who happens to work at the precinct.
It's fucked, man.
Just to make himself look better
Yeah.
and be on everybody's good side. Granted, I don't think all cops are,
No.
terroristic
No.
in their manner at this point, but like, there's enough of them that it's
a
driving the
problem.
force. And, it's driving the entire wave of it, and people are getting behind it and saying all cops are bad. And at this point, you don't really know who is and who isn't.
And at this point, there could be cops that are watching and just letting it happen without saying a single thing, and at that point, they're becoming almost as bad as them because they're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a couple different people on Twitter post about relatives that are, police or FBI or SWAT, and they've been deployed, and after their shift, they're going home and taking all the gear off and resigning because they don't want to sit there through it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them. If you don't feel like it's right, don't do that position. People should be working for something they believe in, especially if it's law enforcement.
Yeah.
But if you feel like that all of the excessive force is being used haphazardly in the wrong manner, then obviously, you're not happy about it and don't be there.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the footage of the, trapping people on bridges and doing, mass arrests that way.
Yep.
It's like, the fuck?
And there was
You
one...
want people to stay away from each other because of coronavirus, yet you're going to trap them all on a bridge and then bring them downtown to book them.
Yep. And there's...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and there's the whole... I told you this earlier, but there's people that were... I saw, a couple threads about people being shot by police, and then people wanting to help the victim, and the authorities are like, yeah, take them here, they'll be able to treat them, and when they get them there, they're shot on sight because they knew they were coming because whether they were either rioting or protesting. It doesn't matter at this point. They're just doing it to do it. And then you had the military, who they all came out as a whole pretty much. Even the Secretary of Defense was at one point on Trump's side and was like, well they'll quell what they need to quell, and called the streets a battle space. And then a couple of days later or a week later, however long it was, he's like, yeah, no, we're not going to have the military do this.
Well, he's not allowed to support anybody, for one, because of his position. He's not allowed to be Democrat, Republican, or other. He's supposed to be just strictly his thing.
This is also Trump's cabinet we're talking about, though.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be apolitical.
Right. But in that sense, he wasn't, though, because he called the streets a battle space, and that the military will do what they need to do to quell what's going on.
Yeah, I watched.
And
I've seen him say it. He also defended that statement. He goes, I called it a battle space because here at the Pentagon, we're used to talking about battlefields and we call things battle spaces. He goes, I use that term loosely. He goes, I didn't actually mean to refer to a U.S. street as a battle space, but the meaning and the way that the police and National Guard were acting,
it was very much a poor choice of words.
Yes.
And then I saw that there was a statement that the military had pretty much came up with, and they're like, we're not gonna, Trump wants us to deploy us out in the streets and, get everything sorted, and they're like, we're not gonna do it. We don't feel like it's right to, harm the people that we're supposed to protect and serve on their own soil. And I agree. Don't, somebody's gonna make a difference, and if it's gonna take a force like the military to make that help with that difference, That's there's a problem.
Yeah, and they're also supposed to be apolitical.
Right.
So like, yeah, that's big for them to be taking a stance.
I have an online friend who's part of the Air Force. He's an honor guard now, and I've heard his stance on this too, and he's not very happy with everything either. So
No.
and then you have and then there's the whole media side of it with like YouTube and Twitch, and everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna make a difference. We're gonna donate, and there's a whole bunch of different organizations you can donate to. And then what I thought was cool is there was a game studio, Bungie. For anybody who doesn't know, Bungie made Halo, and now they're making Destiny, which I happen to love myself. And when they did a reveal stream on the 9th of June, they had an 8-minute and 45-second moment of silence right before the actual show started for George Floyd. And they had a whole list of like different protests or different organizations that you can go donate to if you want to help. So that was just very, very nice to see, especially for them being so open about it. A lot of companies don't really do that. They'll put like a statement and say, hey, we support Black Lives, we support, yada yada yada. But Bungie's actually doing something, so and I commend them for it. That was something really cool to see.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what have you guys been up to?
Breaking shit, building shit, and stuff of the same matter.
I know you guys are working on a shed.
Yeah, we actually just put the roof onto it. That was the most interesting part, really, because I had to walk up there.
Right.
And it's probably time for new boots to be walking on a roof. These ones my feet can slide around in, so it's not really holding me in place. So
I'm gonna see you got a hole ripped in one of them.
Yeah, part of your foot's hanging out of that shit, bro. Climbing around on a roof like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could stick my finger in one side of the boot and probably go out the other, so...
Yeah, no, I think it's time you get a new pair.
It's safe.
Ah, sure, it's...
Nah, I already got a new pair, I'm just gonna...
Is this OSHA approved?
Who's OSHA?
Yo, fuck OSHA, bro. Let me not right now.
Yeah, no. Let's not pile.
What OSHA doesn't know, they don't need to know.
Let's not right now. Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, I just got the roof on. Was just taping it off so that it'll be waterproof. And then I got doors to build, and those are going to be the fun part.
Yeah. You got a big opening there, so it's going to be...
Mm-hmm. It's going to be dual swing doors, so it's going to be all kinds of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you plan on doing with the shed?
We're going to store bikes in it. It's going to be a workshop area.
It's a very nice layout, too. It's very open.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice. It's very wide.
It's a 16 by 32 shed.
There's a lot of space.
Mm-hmm. It's got some windows in it, too, so there's plenty of light.
There you go.
And then once that's all done, I have to come over to your house, actually, and figure out what your mom wants for the deck.
Yeah, because I know that she's talking about getting the deck done at some point.
Yeah, I'll have to see if she just wants to do a resurface, or if she wants to redo the frame, or whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what she's trying to do with it. I know she wants a rework of the deck, but I don't know to what extent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
whatever she wants, I will be able to get done.
What about you, Ed? What have you been up to?
Chilling, watching news coverage of what's going on in the world, finding it intriguing, seeing the different ways that they cover things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got your liberal news media, which cover things very differently than your conservative news media, where you got pictures of the riots from a week ago being shown alongside the peaceful protests that are currently going on. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like at that point, how do you choose what side is correct? You just watch and it's like, all right, well, this is what this tells me. This is what this one tells me.
It's always intriguing. I don't like hearing one perspective on anything. I love hearing multiple different perspectives, but I mean,
that's the problem with mainstream media, though.
Yeah,
they cherry pick it and find either the worst case scenario to make
Scare
headlines.
people.
Yeah, and to make headlines, or they find.
Well, you need ratings.
Yeah, and that's
and fear gets you the best ratings.
Yeah,
unfortunately, which is ironic in a sense, because when we think of fear, we think, oh, it's it's a negative feeling that we have. We don't want that. We don't want to know what's causing it.
Yeah.
And here it's like being spread massively throughout the network.
Well, I mean, people do go watch horror movies.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not, all that uncommon, but like,
People are drawn to fear, and they're drawn to violence. Like, why do you think the UFC exists?
Mm-hmm.
And boxing.
this is true.
All good stuff, actually. There's another championship match going on August 15th.
So how do you feel about Fight Island?
Fight Island?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that was going to be a thing.
Fight Island? I
Yeah.
have
Fight
not seen
Island.
anything about that. Tell me more.
So supposedly Dana White is trying to procure, or did he procure, a private island
I think he's working on it last I knew. I don't know entirely.
to get a group of UFC fighters to fight on that island. And I don't know like the full logistics of it, but it just sounds crazy. Like
That sounds...
they'd have to set up a like medical like facility
Yeah, of course.
there.
100%.
Like you
That's-
can't have UFC fights without.
That definitely sounds like something I would watch, though.
It would be crazy if they did it Survivor style.
Survive. You have to survive, but you're
Like-
allowed to beat each other up.
Like the two people get the least amount of votes to stay
Have to fight.
have to fight. They just have to.
So, according to CNN, Dana White said in April that he was close to securing a private island to host the events, and it's now confirmed that it will be in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, really?
Yep. The island will host 4 events, including the pay-per-view event UFC 251
Okay.
between July 11th and July 25th. So that's coming up. That's actually kind of close around the corner.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's they're because of the whole pandemic too. They're gonna seal off the nearly 10 square mile island,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
which will include an arena, hotel, training facilities, and dining establishments. So it's gonna be the whole shebang.
So they don't have to sleep in tents.
That would actually make it more interesting if they had to sleep in tents. Because then, like, you're, like, half asleep because of the fucking rain just...
And then you have to fight someone in the morning.
Yes.
Fighters will stay and train on the island, with White saying that fights will take place in the, quote, octagon out in the sand, end quote.
Sandy Octagon.
That's going to be interesting.
So...
A lot of infected...
That'll change the fighting tactics a little bit, because then you don't want to get yourself on the ground even more, because then you'll have sand in your face.
Well, that, and you got to be careful how you balance, too, because then you're not going to have firm
Yeah.
footing anymore, either.
Yeah, because then you could slip, you could fall.
Yeah, the
Although
Brazilian
one
should have a
thing
good shot.
is that the sand will
At
soak up
rolling
all
that
your
shit.
blood a lot quicker, so you have less to slip on blood.
Yeah. From what I had an uncle who went to Brazil, and he said they fight on the beach all the time. So like he was walking down the beach. He said he never got his ass kicked so bad in his entire life. He's a black belt in I think like Taekwondo or some shit. He's walking down the beach and he's seeing like these big ass Brazilians beating the shit out of each other, and he's like, I want in. He said he kicked the guy in the face, and the guy kicked his ass.
Hey,
That sounds kind of how it went.
But yeah.
no, I've been playing online, trying to find new games to occupy myself with.
The struggle's real, man. The struggle's real.
I mean, Destiny just put out a new season. Just started up on the 9th. So
Isn't it something like we may not have wanted it, but we angered someone or something like that?
whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into war with the Cabal on Mars. No,
Yeah, you and your friends. Like suddenly, that's all I see in the room now.
that's an ongoing joke in the community. But no, they just put out season 11 right now. We've got the next expansion revealed for September. I already have it pre-ordered.
Of course.
So I'm excited for that to come out. They actually revealed the next 3 expansions. Not only the one that's coming up in September, but they revealed the next 2 for the next 2 years. So they're that confident in themselves to be able to, do this on their own, which is I commend them for it, because they're self-published now. They're no longer with Activision, so they're making big steps.
Really?
Yeah, because when Destiny 1 was being made and it got released in 2014, Bungie was under Activision.
Okay.
And we only know about like what happened in and out with the game behind closed doors with the way it launched and stuff like that because of a couple leaks. And it's been a rough road for the game since, because D2 didn't have a good launch either.
It's kind of hard to launch a game without the backing of a major.
Well,
like launching an album without the backing of a major, it's fucking...
Yeah, well, I mean, D1, when D1 launched, it didn't have a lot of content to it.
Okay.
But that's because there was a lot of creative differences going on. And by the time the game was actually set and ready, they had all of the stuff made. But Activision, and someone can correct me wrong in the comments, but I think, because if my memory doesn't serve me correct, please. But I think Activision said at some point, yeah, we want you to take most of this and turn it into DLC format. So, and for what Bungie had already put together and the director of the game was at the time doing, a lot of it got scrapped for DLC. So they pretty much took it out and then packaged it in a DLC model, and we got the base game that we had in 2014, which I had fun with, but there really wasn't a whole lot. And then, eventually it got better, and then D2 came out in 2017. And in 2017, similar problem happened, but there was also more things that happened that on a systemic level were just bad. And then when they announced the Shadowkeep DLC, which was Year 3, which was this past September, they said that they are no longer working with Activision. And this next big expansion coming out, which is Beyond Light, which comes out September 22nd, 2020. Very excited. This is, I think, their first major piece without them. So they bought out their contract from Activision way back at like early 2019, late 2018, and they went self-published. And now they have enough confidence to say, hey, we've got 3 more expansions planned. They're going to start ripping things out of the game that people don't engage with as much because they're running out of space in it. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to make new stuff, make some, stellar content for the for the players. I'm all for it. So, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff going on, especially during now, like with the being at home and stuff like that. They're working remotely. They had to commission over 400 laptops for their crew. This is an 800-person studio. They had to get a laptop for just about everybody at home to put this game together.
They didn't have laptops?
Not at home, no. Everything was all in the studio.
Oh, okay. So these were specially set up laptops.
Yeah, they had to get special. They had specifically get like 400 something laptops just for the crew. Obviously, they had desktops too that people took home.
Yeah.
But just to work remotely, they had to get so much equipment.
Speaking of working remotely, 60 Minutes was talking to this guy who drives the Mars rover. He's sitting in his fucking house, bro. Like, you see his kitchen behind him, and he's like controlling the fucking rover.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the...
With pinpoint accuracy and no latency. It's insane.
It's amazing.
So you can have problems driving an RC car in your backyard when you can see it, but this guy's
controlling a rover that's all the way on Mars.
From his kitchen.
Yep. Leave it to NASA. Privately funded organization.
Really?
Yep. They're privately funded.
Good for them.
So
initially I thought that they were funded by us, and I thought they were a giant waste of money.
Privately funded.
Privately funded.
Privately funded might be the excuse they use.
Okay.
But speaking of space, we actually just had.
The Dragon.
We had SpaceX launch.
Yes.
First American crew to go to the space station.
From American soil.
From American soil. Yeah, we've had Americans go up there, but using
Wasn't that from
Russian
Canada?
rockets.
Yeah, and it's been years since the last launch, since we've actually had someone go up there too. So it was a lot of history made right on that moment, which was amazing.
Interesting timing, though.
Very interesting timing.
Yeah, they picked a great time to get off of Earth.
Yeah, I always believe things happen to distract the people. It didn't distract very well.
No, it didn't.
And thank God it didn't.
Yeah.
Because big things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it got attention for what it was for the moment, which was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice to see, and it's a very successful launch, too. It's amazing.
It just shows how close we are to being able to move further and possibly get to Mars.
Oh, absolutely. And then Elon Musk has an internet network, I think it is. I forget the name. I forget the name of it right now. That he's having launch in the atmosphere. It's like a ring of different satellites just around the atmosphere, so you always have an internet connection anywhere, which is amazing.
Yeah, he should stick to science and not name kids. Did you hear about what he named his kid?
I didn't hear about it. No.
Oh,
Isn't it?
Shit. It's some crazy shit.
Isn't it? I'm trying to remember. It's like XAE 12-S or something like that.
It sounds like a robot's name.
Mhm.
It sounds like a robot's name. Like
Yeah, just look that up and try to pronounce it, Ron.
it's pronounced
Oh, no.
Ash something.
I did see about this.
I remember before they announced how it was officially pronounced, plenty of people were like, well, if you look at it this way, it could be pronounced Sasha. And it's like, how do you get Sasha out of those letters?
Those letters and numbers. And it was California actually made them change it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because the number characters.
Oh,
that
it
were
probably
in the
fucks
name,
up with the system, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're not legally allowed in the name.
You're only allowed 2 spaces and 1 underscore per name.
The overstep of government in America.
Just like playing a video game, you're only allowed a certain amount of characters of a certain type for your name. So I guess it applies to your actual name too.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, most video games, you can't use certain characters because they can be used to fuck with the code. Like I'm trying to remember like a lot of the older games really, and it just happened to come forward into now. But you can't use things like asterisks.
You can't use underscores, hyphens, asterisks, stuff like that. I mean, it depends on the game.
Yeah.
But
So you could like type in your name and just completely ruin the game.
Yeah,
That'd
like
be crazy.
it's I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's it's like some kind of forced injection where, because the name field in coding is basically just put into the code. So what you can do is, if you were to put a certain set of characters in there that would execute X line of code, you could basically name yourself to run this line of code, run that line of code, change this and change that, and then suddenly you can hack something. There are plenty of websites out there nowadays that don't have protection from it, and it's like, oh, enter your username and password. But you can just enter something into the username spot that would completely skip having to get a password put in.
Yep. And I did look up how the name is supposed to be pronounced. Elon Musk saying it's pronounced Ash.
Oh, it's just pronounced
Oh,
Ash.
just say the Ash?
I think it's X Ash or whatever, something like that.
Okay.
Because the X is just an X, and then the AE mix thing
Yeah, that's
is
pronounced
Elven.
Ash.
It's Elven for I just saw it. Give me a second. It's Elven for
Yeah, because I knew it was pronounced
AI.
Ash,
It's Elven for AI, like artificial intelligence.
Okay.
which is pronounced Ash.
Yes. Apparently.
And then apparently you don't pronounce the rest of the name because
Ash also translates to A-12. By the way, I don't know how that works.
wait, what?
Yeah, that's what he
Well,
said.
no,
So it's X Ash?
A-12 was supposed to be at the end of the name.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah,
supposed to be-
A-12 is okay. So, yeah,
So the name is X Ash.
12.
A-12 is silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the A-12, I think, had something to do with an airplane he was obsessed with.
Yeah, it was like some kind of old plane from, I don't remember when.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird stuff.
I found that out when I was looking up news for our other podcast. Somehow that wound up in the music news feed.
Because,
It's with Grimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the A-12 is precursor to SR-17, which is their favorite aircraft, which features no weapons, no defenses, and it's just raw speed. So
I'm going to name my child F17747.
As long as you're not in California, that might be okay.
It sounds
Yep.
like all the fun stuff can't happen in California. Like you're apparently not allowed to sniff asbestos over in California. Who knew?
yep.
Oh, you're not allowed to sniff asbestos, but I mean, if you wanted to take a shit on somebody's chest, I know there's
You're totally
plenty of
allowed to
people who
do
are
that.
down for that.
And you're allowed to give someone some kind of STI without telling them.
Yep.
But you can't name your kid some weird shit. What the fuck, California?
California.
You're allowed to
California-
give someone an STI, but you can't.
That state's
name
got some
your-
shit.
You can't use special characters in your name.
California.
backwards ass state. I swear.
Oh man, a lot of the states are backwards as shit.
This is true. This is very, very true.
Goddamn Americans.
Yep.
This country was just fine without y'all.
This country is
It was,
perfectly
too.
fine without you damn Americans.
It was too, and then Christopher Columbus said, "Hey, this land's mine."
Well, he thought he landed in India.
Yeah, but he still said the land was mine. Doesn't matter where he was.
Yeah, that's crazy as shit. That motherfucker sat there and said, I'm going to travel around the world to fucking colonize India.
Yep. Said, yeah, we're gonna go colonize India, and then lands
And
in North
America.
America, and then goes,
This is India.
sticks a flag, and it goes, "This is India, but it's now for Britain."
well, Spain.
He sailed for Spain.
At this point, it doesn't really matter. It was some other country. And
There's a big difference between being colonialized by England right away and a different country because
Your
Yes.
stance on Joseph Stalin, since we're talking about things that don't matter.
But I mean, at this point, it's like they invaded a country and said, "Yeah, we're taking this." Just putting a flag in it and going, "We're taking this now."
Yeah.
because
By the way, every time
they
you hit
could.
the table, there's a nice bong.
Funny sound.
Enjoy that, listeners.
Yes.
Enjoy these funny sounds. We will welcome to the funny sound section.
Oh, fuck you. No.
We're not
This is
doing
my
this.
podcast.
We're not doing this.
Wait, I can make funny noises, right?
On your own podcast.
This is my podcast now.
Okay.
I am the captain.
All right.
Do you
Look
have
at
a
me.
flag?
This is my flag.
Okay.
And it's NW.
NW.
It's my flag.
Okay. You're allowed to do that, I guess.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right. Now on to the weather. Ronald, what's the weather looking like from the helicopter up there?
Hot.
Nice. All right. Back to it.
Okay, yeah. So there's shit going on, in case you didn't know. Nah. Oh, man. Just think it's,
I mean, there's stuff happening in very. Oh, Bruce? Did you see the whole thing about the DMCA laws going for like Twitch and stuff?
No. I probably would hear about that later, though. Tell me more.
There's something going on with the music industry and people making content on the internet, whether it be Twitch or YouTube.
okay.
Because copyright strikes are a thing.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Of course. They're
they're fucking everywhere.
everywhere.
Well, now there's something going. I didn't read into it. I probably should, but there's a lot of DMCA shit going on with music industry, and specifically people on Twitch live streaming and playing copywritten music. It's like from major labels and stuff.
Yeah.
The past VODs and clips that they have, apparently, you can get in trouble for having them up on your channel because if you play copywritten music, so like anything that's Five Finger Death Punch, for example, or something like that.
Jump straight to the metal.
These labels are allowed to say, "Hey, you gotta pay us for this because you're making content and making money off that content with our music in the background." Which is very, very rocky terrain because it's not necessarily the label's music as it is the band's music, but at the same time it is the label's music because they're the ones that publish it.
Yeah, because the label technically owns the rights to the songs.
Right. But which is weird because obviously the bands write them and it's their material, but because it's like game developing. The publishers technically own the rights, and then you have the developers.
Oh, it's got a flag now.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, that's all the flags.
That's all the flags.
You're probably missing a few, but I can't see from over here.
Well, I think you lost either way.
Okay, back to the bullshit.
But,
well, not the bullshit, but this is actually interesting, and I'm being an asshole. So
Yeah,
let's
so
go.
like if you have like any past VODs or past clips that you have saved on your Twitch channel, these labels can actually say, "Hey, you gotta pay us for these because of DMCA, because you're making money off of your content with our stuff, with our content in the background." So you could technically they could say, "Hey, you gotta pay royalty."
Yeah,
So and that's a lot of money.
it is.
So a lot of people are deleting everything they have, which kind of sucks at the same
Sounds
time.
like it because you can't. You're probably like bringing up some shit to a friend, and you're like, "Yo, so this one," and then you go to show them, and you can't find a video.
Right, and then so a lot of people are switching over to royalty-free music that are it's like Monster Cat and stuff like that.
Really, Monster Cat's royalty free?
Most of it.
Really?
Yep. Most of it's actually royalty free, which is
I
interesting.
think that's one of the biggest things they were trying to do when they made Monster Cat is they wanted to make a lot of it royalty free.
So we could literally open tomorrow's podcast with one of the songs you picked.
We could.
Probably. I'd have to double check the
Yeah,
rights, but yeah.
We have to look into that.
So a lot of people are trying to.
Please don't sue us.
A lot of people are switching
Sue
over
the
to.
shit out of us, bro. Ron's the one with all the money. I promise.
Only Ed. He's the one that owns this.
I own it, but I ain't got shit.
Shit.
So, you could just go bankrupt right now and nothing would change.
That is true.
Big brain place.
Yes, big brain.
I could be just like the president.
Oh shit.
I'm bankrupt, motherfucker. Sue the shit out of me, bitch.
Right.
So what you got to do is you got to rack up as much debt as you can just from playing music on the podcast, and then suddenly be like, "Oh no, I'm bankrupt. You can't take my money."
But what if the podcast grows in popularity over that time and we actually wind up making money? I know.
It's all in the name of the company.
Actually, I know an
We just found
accountant
it.
who can make money disappear. So there we go.
Yes.
We're good.
I'll open up a laundromat.
There you go. Be up front. Yeah, no. So like, it's a lot of
Perfect.
people are playing royalty-free electronic and dubstep and synthwave and stuff like that.
And I mean, it's always been an issue on YouTube. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense because it was really easy to make content on YouTube with the music and then just throw it out into the void. But Twitch, it's a little bit harder because you have to have an audience watching at the time.
Right. And I think that's where the gray area pretty much lies at this point, because like you could be you could be the bottom of the barrel streamer and have like 20 viewers and be making like a little bit of money off of it if you're partnered or an affiliate or something, and you could get hit with this. So I mean, it's weird too, because like music industries are behind the times in terms of how music is spread
And consumed.
Mm-hmm.
and consumed. Like I understand, like it's your IP basically, and you want to protect that IP, and I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody has a different platform to get to get music out there to people. And I feel like, as a band, I feel like some of them should probably speak up and say, "Hey, we wrote the material. You guys published it for us, but we wrote the material. We think it's great that they're doing this and getting it exposed." Like,
I mean, I imagine they could, but
Well,
I
they
imagine
kind of give that up when there's certain
There's-
clauses and shit
Right.
that they kind of
Contracts.
give up by signing those contracts.
right? And,
Just like-
and that's the point, though. Is like these contracts are probably outdated in a sense as to how music is consumed
Yeah.
and spread.
especially since everything's streamed nowadays, and you don't actually buy the rights to music anymore.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
buy
Like when
an
you,
album.
You buy the
just-
rights to stream the music.
Right,
Yeah.
so like no one's buying like a physical CD or a physical like cassette or anymore like that. So it's very different. It's the same thing with like a game. You're buying.
Yeah, you're now buying a
digital copy.
a
like,
digital. You're buying a right to use the software. Basically,
Yeah.
you don't actually own the software at all.
Right. So it's a little bit of a gray area, and it's a little shaky.
Which actually reminds me, because I saw a post on Reddit's like a few weeks ago that it was in the Today I Fucked Up, and someone basically said that their son wasn't doing what they wanted or whatever, so what they did was they deleted the child's Steam account.
I remember seeing that.
And they were like, "Did I fuck up?" And they were like, "How can I get this back?"
Someone commented on it. It's like you just
You
can't.
can't, because
It's gone.
once a Steam account gets deleted, everything about it is gone, and basically all licenses tied to that account are deleted, and you can't get that back, and you'd have to buy everything again.
Yep. And if your kid has like like 50 something games on there, you're looking probably a couple $100 easy.
Yeah, I know I would lose
There's a few games. I can name a few games where if you bought two, it's a couple $100.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Like-
ridiculous.
I know I would lose
Games
a
are
lot of money
out
if
of-
I lost my Steam account.
Yeah.
Games are out of
I'd
control
lose.
right now.
I'd lose like a couple thousand probably if I lost my Microsoft account.
Oh yeah,
Kidding me? I feel, and that's the
True.
worst thing you could do to a kid. Like
Mhm.
I understand you gotta punish a kid if they done something wrong, but like,
yeah.
dude, some people
Like-
delete Minecraft worlds, and it's like, why? Why are you? Your kid worked hard for that.
Yeah.
He's proud of what he made, and he can't get it back.
Like that kid probably spent a lot of time. He could have spent time doing chores, getting money, just so he could play some games with his friends, and now it's all been destroyed, and he can't get that back.
Yeah.
Unless he does it all over again. It's like saying to someone, "Oh yeah, you spent your life getting this nice house, but I burnt it down for you because you didn't do your chores."
Yeah, and it's like, well, now how do I get it back? You don't. You just buy a new
You'd
one or
have to
build
get
it.
another one all over again.
You either rebuild it for more money you bought it for, or you buy another house.
I mean, what happened to the days, like, my parents used to take my Xbox or my PlayStation and just, like, lock it in the closet and be like, yeah, you lost it for the week. What happened to that?
Things change.
You can't just
Like
unplug a game system, or
nowadays, I mean, things are a little more complicated. Like, you can actually play certain computer games on your phone from
Yeah.
streaming.
that's true.
So it's a little
Yeah,
weird.
so at that point, you gotta. I mean,
All right.
like I said, I'm all for you gotta punish a kid, you gotta punish a kid, but like, don't go to the extreme of deleting something they worked for.
Because another way you could say it is that was basically the same way as saying you got him an Xbox for Christmas, or like he bought an Xbox for himself,
And then
he did something bad, so you broke it over your knee right in front of him.
right, because essentially what happened is you destroyed it. You destroyed what he loves,
Yeah.
and it just, I can't stand it. That just upsets me inside. Like, that hurts.
It hurts you, but I'm not feeling it. But that's...
Imagine if someone snapped your guitar in half.
Then you'd understand.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
like
took
I'd
all of
break
your
that
music
person.
equipment and they destroyed it all because you
they-
didn't want to do the dishes.
I'd probably break them and then burn down their house.
but again, like
Because that's about what it's worth.
like that's the kind of that's what we're talking
Which I
about. It's
wish,
like,
but it's not.
that's the same kind of thing we're talking about. It's like you worked hard to get the money for that stuff. You would enjoy that stuff. You enjoy playing, making the noise with it, recording stuff, and it's
Fuck
like
you, it's music. It's not noise.
says the one that calls it noise every time.
I do call it noise, but it's when I say it, it's fine. When you say it, it's offensive.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh, I understand.
but yeah, no, it's
Make
like
your own product.
it's like someone taking all of that and destroying it right in front of you because, like you said, you didn't want to do dishes or you didn't want to take the trash out or whatever, or you didn't do your homework, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was always grounded for other things, but okay.
Like, it's that same kind of principle.
And my punishments were weird. I had to build a 6 foot wide fire pit out of cinder block.
That sounds kind of fun.
It was.
How old were you? Because that changes it.
Don't
This is
recall. I think I was like 12 or 13.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, I had to drag the cinder blocks across the yard to where my dad wanted the fire pit. It was dope when it was done, dude. We threw a doghouse in that bitch. Like,
Yeah.
my dad just ordered another RC car. Yeah, he got the truck and then he had a bonus at work a while ago, so he ordered an RC truck.
okay.
It's actually a really nice truck. It can go up to like 70, 75 mile an hour, and it's a toy.
Yeah, my parents had.
But
They got me one for Christmas one year, but I think that one only did like 20 or 30.
yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
nuts to watch move.
oh yeah, but I ended up buying a car for myself. So I bought mine was like a $300.
Buy yourself a car, but not fix your truck.
Yeah, but
I don't think he can get himself anywhere with this one, though.
no,
That's,
not quite. As much as I wish I could, because it is a Mustang. But so I bought myself an RC car, and then my dad just got another bonus, so he bought another RC car. So now we're probably gonna go run the track once it comes in, and he gets the car dialed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he wanted to buy a car so he could run the track with me, and then he has his truck for the dirt. So, I mean, there's that going on. We got that, which is good. The track's not too far from here. It's like 5 minutes down the road on the pike. Okay, right by the high tension wires.
I was about to say where they got a hockey rink.
Yeah, it used to be a hockey rink.
Okay.
They turned that whole space into a little RC track.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dope. Because I remember there was a little RC track and a hockey rink, and like I'd go there and I'd play hockey with a group of dumbasses.
Yeah, they
We call it hockey, but that's because we had sticks and a ball that is meant for street hockey, but it was just the excuse to check the shit out of each other.
oh yeah,
Of course.
yeah. So like that.
And call the guy standing in net with no pads of pussy.
Yeah,
As
so
one does.
we've been going over there about every other weekend or whatever. So that's been fun. It gets me out of the house, so I'm not sitting around and going stir crazy.
There's no such thing as going stir crazy in the house.
Gotta get yourself a VR setup so you can go into other places.
Yeah, if I had the money for one, dude, I would.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, my computer can't run that.
Mm.
This is what the Deffert Mall looks like.
It's been so long since I've been there. Oh my god, they have a Krispy Kreme. Oh, I can't go inside. That's right. This isn't real.
And everything's closed anyway. Jesus Christ, this is depressing.
Well, we just had our stay-at-home order lifted.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why we're podding.
Yeah. So I mean, it's things are opening back up slowly. I mean, DMV is opening up the 15th.
Oh, sweet.
Good. I can have a valid license again.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did you get a renewal?
No,
Oh,
I got one for my registration.
because I got one to renew my license probably 3 weeks ago, and I was able to do it online.
Yeah. No,
I guess you just didn't get that.
they don't like me.
I don't know.
I don't like me either, so it's okay. They're like, he asked his mother if she ever thought about getting abortion while pregnant with him. Yeah, we're not giving him a license.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. For you, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a valid question.
Yeah. That means I can probably go and take my permit test for motorcycles again.
Probably. I think they're up because not the 15th. The 15th I think is for like renewals and stuff, and then I think a couple weeks after they're opening up for like just everything else for like new licenses and permits and stuff. So that's coming up towards the end of the month, I think.
I gotta say, this has definitely been a weird time to try to sell a car.
Yeah.
Because especially since no one can
Register
or transfer the title into their name right now, it's like, well, I guess I kind of just shouldn't try to sell it then, because then there would be a lot of hassles that could happen with it.
So the Lemons endurance race that you guys were going to be a part of.
That would be happening next week, technically. And I don't know if it was supposed to be happening anymore. And we definitely weren't going to do that anymore. We weren't going to try to get in, and it was going to be too much of a paywall to start.
Yeah, because then if something happened to the car while we're in the event, we wouldn't have had the money at the point to just actually support it going through it. So
I was thinking that, like a $500 car.
But you $500 limit for the car, but you still have to spend money on safety and stuff like that,
Yes.
which is not including $500. So that'd be at least $1,500
yeah,
just
so
for a
we
car.
would need 5-point harnesses,
Yeah.
a roll cage,
If you-
stuff like
a
that.
fire
that's
suppression
cheap.
system.
Right.
And that's cheap if you're looking
Yeah.
at $1,500.
Yeah, I mean it's still really
Like,
cheap if you
are
want to get
doing the
yourself
welding
into.
yourself? Like,
We
Yeah.
probably would.
oh, okay. I was about to say, like, the
Yeah.
roll cage itself would cost you around that.
Yeah.
15.
Not to mention to get someone to install it if we went that route, because we're looking
Yeah.
at like double that probably.
And it's not like I have enough certifications to make a roll cage yet, so
Right. So I mean, it would have just been
You
too
don't need
much.
certifications.
yeah, totally no.
Right, you don't need to be certified for shit.
I mean,
No
you guys are building
further
the
than
show
White
without
House.
certs.
Shush.
So yeah.
No one needs to know about that.
Oh, what did I miss?
I'm sorry. What?
Yes.
Okay.
But we weren't going to do that. I did sign up for a Hot Rod Power Tour, though. That actually was supposed to happen this week. But of course, everything started happening, and that got moved into August.
Mm.
So that's still happening August 23rd to the 29th.
So we'll be down a co-host. Or we'll just take that week off.
We'll probably
Probably.
take that week off because I'm supposed to go with them.
Oh.
But
I could host the show myself. Fuck y'all.
of course you could. But you know what the interesting
That
thing
one will
is?
have video.
It got postponed to
It'll be uploaded
August,
to
and everything
Pornhub.
was all right.
Carry on.
But then, like maybe 2 weeks ago, or like a week ago, maybe, Summit Motorsports Park, the first stop of the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
decided to say, "Hey, we're gonna cancel everything for the rest of the season." So they're now looking for a new first venue.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It's still happening as of now, but they don't have a first venue at the moment.
Where's Summit Motor Park?
That is over in Ohio.
Okay.
It's all Ohio. It always has been.
Mm-hmm.
But
I didn't know.
motocross, there's like 7 as of Tuesday. There was 7, or like earlier in the week or whatever. Sunday might have been. It's every Sunday and Wednesday they're doing a race.
Okay.
There were 7 races left when the pandemic hit. So what they're using a stadium in Salt Lake City, and every week they're changing up the course, just in that one track, to run out the rest of the season. And then there's no one in the stands. It's just the bikes running. And they got to pick. Obviously, they have pickers and everything. So that's what they've been doing for that, which is pretty amazing. Which it's going to be weird though, because they're not going to go to Vegas. They're not going to run down Thunder Alley, which is gonna be weird to watch because we're not gonna be able to see that happen. So, but they gotta finish out their season too.
You sure about that? Because Vegas is open.
I don't think they're gonna this late into it. I don't think they're gonna move.
Okay.
It's gonna be way easier and way safer for them to just stay where they're at. As much as I would love to see them run down Thunder Alley again,
Because I know NASCAR's traveling. They did. I know they did. What is it? They did Charlottesville. They did Atlanta last weekend. I know they're at Bristol. Like, they're moving around.
I mean, they also kind of have to because their tracks you can't really change up.
Nah.
Whereas a dirt track you can.
Charlottesville, they could have ran the road course there.
True. I mean, it's a NASCAR. You put a NASCAR on a road course, it ain't gonna do.
Well, they do that.
Too hot.
Watkins Glen is a road course
True.
that they race on. Like, I'm sure that I'm forgetting something else because I really don't follow the sport, but there's nothing else on.
Yeah. But I mean, just for motocross, it's easier because they have the dirt there already, and they can just tear it up and reform it.
Yeah.
Just bring in an excavator and you can just move it around as you wish.
Right. But yeah, so I mean they got that because they got to finish out their season too. So I mean it's every Sunday and Wednesday they're doing a race.
They're trying to bring hockey back, and they're fucking nuts.
I don't know how you'd be able to make that work because it's a colder environment.
Have you heard any of their plans?
No.
2 hub cities, and they plan on having 24 teams. So it'd be like, I guess, 12 teams per hub city.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. They haven't figured out what the hub cities are going to be.
I wouldn't have a crowd though because
I just get, like, I love hockey. Hockey's one of my favorite sports, but just give up. Do the Stanley Cup next year.
Too many people want it to happen, though.
and I think that's the problem is people are just like, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it.
Fuck that. I don't want to. I don't know.
Especially since it's a colder environment where, you know, bacteria thrives.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like...
I mean, this thing doesn't seem to care.
No, it doesn't.
Like, it seems like, oh, well, it's hot out, and I'm still around.
Yeah.
It's cold out, and I'm still around.
Yeah. The tickets are everywhere.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of dangerous for them. If they want to do the hub cities, by all means, they just can't have a crowd.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it that way, that's my only thing, as I would say, is just don't have a crowd.
And they were talking about, like, if 2 players have the coronavirus, the team can still play. I'm like, if 2 players have it, the team fucking has it.
Yeah, at that point.
Like, it ran through the Ottawa Senators locker room. Like, really?
I mean, that's probably what the reasoning is like, well, 2 people have it, so they've probably all got it, so there's no problem doing that.
Then you're running the risk of every other team getting it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the big thing, though.
So it's like...
And hockey players are...
Their body...
Very prone to hitting each other with
physical.
everything they got.
Yeah. It's a somewhat physical sport.
Yeah, so I mean, it's... That seems like the most dangerous one to be opening back up and starting again.
Yeah.
So that's...
But that might be starting back up in, like, late July or August. And they plan on starting next year's season in December. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck.
All right.
I'm like, why just go, hey, it's the off season. We'll be back when we would normally come back.
Right.
I don't know.
Because then it gives a chance for everything to, like, wind down,
I mean, I get people would be upset. I get Flyers fans should really be upset because they had a team this year.
Right.
I'm a Devils fan, so I don't give a fuck. Like, we were garbage. Like, so that might be what's going on here. That might be why I don't care, because we wouldn't be one of the teams.
Yeah, it's just weird, though.
But, we're still talking about sports, I guess, in the fact of racing and whatnot. Cletus McFarland is putting together Burnout Rivals endorsed by Summit Racing Equipment. And it's happening June 20th. It's pay-per-view only, so there's not going to be a crowd or anything. It's going to be basically, from what he says, 4 competitions: drifting, freestyle, burnout battle royale, and a burnout battle. That
actually sounds kind of fun to watch.
It's happening June 20th.
That's a shame we have something going on that day.
It is true.
So unfortunately, we won't be able to watch.
We'll be able to watch it after the fact, most likely.
Yeah, which I want to do. 'Cause I want to see. That sounds cool.
Because I mean, he even says right here, they are bringing in Vaughn Gittin Jr.
They're
and
actually gonna get.
and Chelsea Denofa to drift the Freedom Factory.
That's a lot of money to get them there.
That is dope. Who else is going to be there? Or is it just them two?
They're gonna have. Let's see. There's gonna be a freestyle drifting competition between Cletus McFarlane, Vaughn, Chelsea, Adam LZ, and Taylor Ray.
That's going to be between fucking Vaughn and Chelsea.
Yeah, it's going to be a best of two or best 2 out of 3 drifting showdown between the 2 Formula Drift teams and their 1,200 horsepower Ford Mustang RTRs.
Yep,
it's going to be
Holy
amazing.
shit! There's going to be the Burnout Rivals 1v1, Cletus versus James in an all-out fashion burnout contest. Ooh, that'll be fun. A freestyle drift. It's going to be between Cletus, Vaughn, Adam, Taylor, and Chelsea. They all get 2 minutes, and they get the entire Freedom Factory to drift around and do whatever they want. The hardest line wins. And then 12 car,
Hard
every man for
line.
himself. And he says right here, that's 24 rear tires laying rubber on the most epic burnout competition you've ever seen. It's going to be crazy.
Bruce,
12 fucking
the
cars.
unofficial spokesperson.
I fucking love this shit. Have you seen the Freedom 500? That shit was fucking awesome.
No.
It was a 12 Crown Vic endurance race with 100 laps. All decommissioned cop cars, bone stock. Only modifications they got were roll cages and nitrous.
Yep.
Okay, I think I've seen this.
All various condition of cars too.
Yeah, so the cars were not checked for what condition they were in. None of them were done
I
any
did see
tune-ups.
They all just ran.
They all just, you got your car
It
via
was quite a
lottery.
shit show.
It was fun to watch.
You got a car via lottery, and then you got to paint it and put decals on it. And then you just tried to beat everyone else in a race with a car that'll probably blow up in front of you.
Yep. And hope it didn't do it. It was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
We need more racing like that. I remember there was Top Gear, the UK version, did a taxi cab
The better
race.
version.
The best version.
I like the American one though.
They're not
challenging.
as good, though.
Well, no, because they don't actually like.
They're
They
not
don't
funny.
hate each other. That's the thing. They don't actually hate each other. That's why the UK version is better, because they genuinely hate each other.
This is true. I like it though. It's fun to watch.
I mean,
them.
it's not bad. I just like the UK version better because it's better.
I feel like the cab race was the best with the limo getting
That
split
was-
in half. What was
that
that by a
was-
Benz?
Something like that.
Like, just
It was amazing.
they need more of that. Like, I want to watch more limos race against other taxi cabs.
Right.
One of my favorite was when they did the trains, where they turned a car into a train.
Mm.
That was an interesting episode.
Fucking all kinds of shit.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that more of that would be cool. I mean, it's something different.
Yeah, just once a year. Once a year, just get a mess load of cabs and a fucking limo and send them on a 20-lap race around a fucking road course.
Yeah.
Like,
Cletus McFarlane's actually planning on doing the Freedom 500 again next year and try to do it annually.
That would be an impressive feat to pull off.
that'd be dope.
It was funny because after that they had all these Crown Vics left over and just lying around, so they're like, oh, let's do a rally race. So they set up
Crown Vic Rally?
Yeah, Crown Vic Rally.
Yo.
And they basically just made a dirt track in the back of their racetrack, and I think they got 3 laps in before everyone's cars had died. Because they basically said that they made the jump a little too big, and almost everyone had broken some tie rods, broken some radiators, broken everything on the front end.
Yep.
It was funny.
Yeah, I remember I jumped my lawnmower one time over some railroad tracks. That was a very uncomfortable landing. Like,
Especially when your car, your road car has, a little bit of a stiffer suspension than, an off-road car.
yes.
We should turn your truck into a rally truck.
Yo.
It's crossed my mind before.
I mean, it's got plenty of space, so we can just make it taller, make it wider.
Yeah, just dance it out a little
And
bit, raise it up.
We'll put the engine behind the cab instead to change the center of gravity.
Yes,
Yes.
have more traction in the back.
And then we have exhaust headers shooting straight up, shotgun style.
And I'll film everything because I'm not riding along.
And they all have
And don't let me drive it because I'll total it.
And Ron, they'll all have tractor flaps.
Well, can you drive a stick?
Somewhat.
I don't think
Even
that's
more
the thing he's
reason-
looking for.
Well, no, even more of a reason for you not to drive it then.
I can drive it well enough to get it from point A to point B, but I really don't like it.
It's
So
My next car, I'm hoping I can get a manual. My 2 requirements is manual transmission and a working AC unit.
yeah, that one's pretty good.
That is my 2.
Hey.
Those are my 2 requirements for another vehicle.
AC is overrated.
Really? Because it doesn't work in my truck, and I hate it during the summer.
Hey, my truck has AC. You just have to open the tiny little flappy windows.
Yeah.
It's redneck air conditioning.
Yeah, but it works. Not mine.
All you got to do is take a piece of cardboard to your truck. It'll be even more redneck.
Yeah. So
maybe
it's,
you need to be a little less bitchy.
Ron, what you need to do? Take out the front and back window. There you go. We're all
Okay.
good. Don't need to worry about rain.
No, I don't need a windshield. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck windshields.
You just gotta wear a pair of goggles. And earmuffs.
They are quite overrated. You know?
Yeah, I mean, those are my 2 requirements for my next vehicles: manual transmission and a working AC unit. That's all I want.
I was watching a IndyCar race on Saturday night, and they had, for the first time ever, a split windscreen on the IndyCars.
That's interesting.
And I'm thinking to myself,
Alright.
yeah, IndyCars, open cockpit.
They have full face helmets. It don't matter.
They had split windscreen, and it was still, the roof was still open.
It's probably for aerodynamics a little bit.
I would assume.
Probably.
I would assume so. It has to be, and it creates less drag.
Probably, but it's like, what?
Because then it would direct the air over the driver's head instead of having air forced into his head and then have to go around it.
I mean,
Right.
how far are we from having Formula One cars that look like LMP1 cars or LMP2 cars, like just covering the fucking the wheels and shit of that nature? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not an Indy car.
Formula One cars fucking 200 something mile an hour around a freaking big ass track.
Yeah,
It's fun to watch.
oversized fucking goat kart. Fuck that.
It's fun to watch though.
Oh, it's great to watch.
Especially for how small their engines are normally.
Yeah, no, they're which is mind-boggling for how small for how compact those things are.
They don't weigh nothing.
No, they don't.
Like, that's why they're able to move like that. It was funny, they had like the side by side where like they showed you like where the RPMs and like the speed was on one of the fucking cars, and it's just chilling there at like fucking 11,000 RPMs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro.
And that's not even your red line.
No,
No,
that's
that's
not
like-
the red line.
that was
That's
like-
comfortable. That's
That's
cruising
cruising speed.
speed.
That's
Yes.
where it wants to sit.
Yes.
That's cruising. That's like bare
That-
minimum cruising speed.
This is my comfort zone.
That engine loves to sit at the RPM that would blow up half of my engines.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a goat kart if I revved it to 11,000.
I don't think I could get a go-kart to even go to 6,000 before it blew up.
No.
Yeah.
Probably one motor, and that's probably it.
Yeah.
I don't like getting mine to 4, so yeah.
That's why I leave my governors on them.
Well, I don't think mine's governed. It might be, but
It-
I don't think there'd be a point to that.
If I was gonna want a faster engine, I'd just get a bigger one.
Yeah. More or less.
Maybe I'll just put a sports bike engine in a go-kart.
You know that would work.
Actually, you know what? I'll put a new engine in my car, and I'll take the engine from my car and I'll put that on a go-kart.
Death trap.
Yeah.
And I'll just put one of those tiny little clutches like that picture I sent you.
Oh no.
One of those tiny little clutches that's only rated to like 10 horsepower and have something that has probably 200 behind it.
And as soon as you start it up, it fries it.
You hear you just hit the gas pedal and suddenly it's on fire.
I was thinking about doing an electric car conversion on my car, and then I found out like how much that shit costs.
Oh yeah, they're expensive.
That's
I would have.
You're better off buying a Tesla.
Yeah.
I was gonna do an electric car conversion to my car, but it was way cheaper to put the engine I put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, even if it wasn't, even if it was cheaper than buying a Tesla or buying like a Porsche Panamera, at
Well,
that
it would
point,
be cheaper than that.
right? Well, than a Porsche, yeah,
to
obviously.
be honest with you.
But at that point, why not just go buy the other car instead of putting all the work into your shit box to turn it into one of those?
What if I don't like Teslas? What
I
if I
mean-
like my Civic?
I mean, your prerogative, but like at this
Although-
point, I would just
More
buy
than
the
I
other
like-
car.
Although your car might be new enough that it would be difficult for an electric conversion, because there are probably some certain features in the car that require the engine to be there for them to function. It's like,
What year's your car?
It's a O2.
Yeah, it's got to be new enough.
Yeah, there's probably some safety features in there. It's like, oh, it can't move unless this is like this, so you have to be like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I need new ECU and things of that nature.
Yeah,
And
have
then
to
I wouldn't be
bypass
able
things.
to pass inspection because they'd plug it in and they'd be like, we're looking at a Honda Civic, but it's reading.
Nothing. It's like, this Civic tells us it doesn't have an engine. What do you have in there?
Oh, I got a battery.
You pop the trunk.
Like,
It's big ass lithium
Like,
battery.
Do you know how powerful that engine would have to be to sit there? Well, motor, 'cause it's electric.
Like, I've definitely thought about converting my
all
car
that
to
weight?
electric. It would have worked fine. I mean, I could have gotten rid of the gas tank, replaced it with a giant battery bank.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could still do an electric conversion. I could do it the cheap way, use like a forklift motor and a forklift driver, and just still use the manual transmission. It's just
That's a lot of...
more work than I'm willing to do right now.
Yeah.
I have thought about putting an electric supercharger on my truck, though. I thought about it. I was like, I could replace one of the gas tanks, which is a big battery bank, put an electric supercharger in there, and just use that.
That wouldn't be a bad alternative.
But that's still expensive because that's still a giant three-phase motor that ties directly into the crankshaft of the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta worry about putting holes in that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Been there, done that. Not with an electric supercharger, but actual.
An actual supercharger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I put a hole in the side of mine, of my old engine before, without even using any extra power. That thing made probably 90 horsepower.
Yeah, and we happened to... Well, he happened to just... It blew up. It wasn't even his fault. It just blew up.
It was his fault. He wasn't paying attention. He wasn't listening.
I wasn't listening to the car. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't even the one driving.
Oh,
And
that's the problem.
We had just left for a road trip to go to Ohio, and we were taking the car.
This guy in Ohio, man.
I have a friend that lives over there.
Uh-huh.
So, and we got what?
Yeah. Continue.
We didn't even get out of our
Did you guys
county.
Did you guys make it to like 42 or something?
We got on 42. We blew up on 42.
Yeah.
We didn't even make it. Well, we were on the expressway, and we blew up before we got off.
Yep.
Basically, it overheated, and it was basically a lot of things compounded on top of each other. It was the radiator was clogged up because someone that had it before me, they put radiator stop leak in it, which stopped the leak that they had, but also clogged up the radiator so it didn't work as well. It still had a leak in it, and it drained coolant over time. So what I did, I was like, all right, well, fill it to the top, and then take the overflow tank and fill that to the top so that when it drains coolant, it'll still be able to suck some in, and it'll be fine. Well, a lot of things compounded with it because it was a 3-speed transmission, and we were going probably 70 miles an hour, and it stayed in second. That thing was getting hot.
Yep.
So what ended up happening is the engine got too hot and decided, because it couldn't cool itself down because it was revved too high, the radiator didn't cool enough, and then it decided, oh, I'm going to puke all of this into the overflow tank because that's what I'm supposed to do. Well, that was full. So all of that decided to spew out, and some of it got swallowed by the engine and decided to break a rod and throw a hole in the side.
Yep.
And funny enough, that wasn't the only thing that broke at the time. I guess there was enough coolant pressure in the coolant lines that the heat exchanger for the heater decided to burst on the inside of the cab as well. So it was a nice steamy flash where we had to pull over and sit for probably half an hour, where I then had to drive it off of the expressway with it still overheating, and obviously something wasn't right.
Yep.
But then we sent it off in a blaze of glory where it was still running on only 5 cylinders. which I still to this point think that it didn't crack the block until we revved it that high.
It might have not, yeah.
Because when I ran it in the driveway for my dad to show him the rod knock, it was like a light tap. So I don't think that could have broken it. And then, of course, we gave it a send-off with maximum RPM with a broken rod slapping around.
There was coolant and transmission fluid everywhere.
Oh my God, yeah. Because turns out automatic transmissions, they pump coolant, or they pump their fluid through their coolant lines. So if you clip the lines and you start the engine, ATF will start pouring out of the coolant lines.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So the thing was kind of bleeding all over the place as we killed it.
Yeah, there was just a nice big puddle underneath the car right before we pulled the motor out of it.
I think one of the best Viking funerals I ever seen. There's this YouTube video of a guy with a Subaru.
This
It's
already sounds great.
turbocharged.
It's always a Subaru.
It's already a good story.
A bottle of Nos
Oh my God.
all the way fucking open, going straight into the intake,
Intake? Oh my God.
and they just
That will send anything.
Yep.
That would turn a lawnmower into a race car.
yeah,
But not for very long.
and they're sitting still, and the guy just turns the ignition and floors it, and the fucking turbo turned into a grenade and just chucked shrapnel everywhere.
Yep.
It was amazing to watch.
I can't imagine how much of a better send-off that would have been if we had nitrous to shove down its throat. Just imagine sending that 90, actually if running on 5 cylinders, it was probably making horsepower. Probably 90 horsepower, 6-cylinder.
Mind you, this car had a 90-degree V6 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it blew a cylinder. So it already wasn't, that V6.
It wasn't functioning right.
Well, the V6 was made out of a V8 that they just cut 2 cylinders out of for GM. Because, GM.
They needed a cheap
You
V6.
gotta cut corners.
They needed a cheap V6. They didn't want to make a new one, so they took their V8.
It was
took
actually
2 cylinders out of it.
Buicks.
It took 2 cylinders out of it and had a 90-degree V6.
And the funniest thing is when they first did that, they didn't give it a new crankshaft. They just cut the 2 cylinders off of it. So it was still rotating as if it still had the 2 cylinders in the front, so the firing order was all off, and it had a weird rumble. So just imagine if you had a V8 and you
What type
suddenly...
of vehicle was this?
It's an Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it already had a ass backwards motor in it that ended up blowing a cylinder that we full throttled.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are fucking amazing, bro.
And then we Frankenstein and shoved a
Chevy 350 in there.
Yeah.
It's got a T5 out of an S10. And everything else kind of just happens to work.
Yeah.
It just
Just happens to work
Took
together.
me a while to get the clutch to work, but it works. Ron still can't use it, but it works.
That thing is annoying.
I will get it. I will make it better eventually, but that'll be. Actually, this is probably the best time to do it since it's not on the road.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, probably not, because I have to get it ready for Power Tour in August. So kind of
just got to get ready.
So I'm gonna get the coolant stuff done first, then I'm gonna strap the exhaust back up, because it's also developed a leak since it's been hanging.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna strap that back up, and then just work on some other things. Like maybe fix the speedometer so I can tell how fast I'm going. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
I think that's optional.
Yeah, you don't need the how fast you're going if you're going fast.
Exactly. Just keep with the flow traffic.
I was like, if you're keeping pace with traffic, you're going the right speed.
Yeah. Now back roads can get a little tricky.
Yeah.
So. And if I'm on the road, it's real tricky to tell you what the fuck the speed limit is, because I choose to be 20 miles over and then sometimes 5 miles under, and yeah.
My truck don't like going that fast, so I gotta ride speed.
Okay.
I ride speed anyway, though. It's more comfortable for me, especially in what that thing is. Had I had a faster vehicle, sure, I might, open it up a little bit.
Also, Rangers ride weird.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
when they're moving, there's a weird G-force going on.
yeah.
I've had that thing up to about 80, 85, 90. It's different.
My car fucking sucks at around 80. It feels weird.
My truck actually hauls ass at 80. Like 85 is when overdrive, it kicks into overdrive up that high speed, and it locks the torque converter, and it sits at a happy RPM where it just hums and it just pulls.
His truck's really nice at high end. That top end is just...
Now,
really
if
nice.
the transmission could just stop forgetting to shift gears before I get to that point, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, my Grand Prix, man. I remember when I first got that thing. I went to pass somebody, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw it up to about 80, and to get around him because the guy was being a dick. And I get back into the lane that I'm supposed to be in, and I'm doing 140, and it's just cruising. Like it's not like it,
no, it's just riding along. It's like, nah, it's
some
great.
cars are designed to be able to ride that fast.
Probably part of the reason why it blew up. Because I was like, gotta go faster.
Yeah, I remember when I first got my truck and I was comfortable enough with actually like driving it everywhere. I took it down Jackson Road right down here, and I would just full send it down one way and up back, and I could do it now, but like it won't go as fast as it did.
Yeah, we're renaming this the Entrapment podcast.
But it's
Bruce done figured out how to get us to admit to speeding.
All right, boys, you're under arrest.
God
But,
damn it!
you know that truck's weird under speed.
Don't worry, I do.
Under high speed, that thing is nuts.
It's also kind of hard not to speed in the current car I have.
Yeah, no, it's
That
Hard
thing-
not to speed in the current climate. People are doing 70 everywhere.
well,
I mean,
that Cutlass.
It's hard to not do mischievous things in that car. It can do a burnout by accident from a stop.
Yeah,
I love doing that.
Like
he's got so much torque in that thing.
there have been so many times I went to leave from a stop sign or a stoplight and I accidentally tripped the tires.
There's that much
I could
torque in that car.
I could probably do a burnout in second gear, dropping it into second gear.
Yeah, it's
torquey.
Nice.
I mean, you all with the way the clutch is set up too, you're also riding it a little bit when you take off, like more so than you probably should be.
All right, so
So
what you're
it's-
saying is the second I leave a stop, I need to completely let go of the clutch and floor it at the same exact time.
No, because then you're gonna fishtail.
No, that's how I do burnouts.
What's
But-
wrong with fishtailing? And fishtailing is kind of what they consider a burnout in Australia. Those sitters are fucking boring according to Australians, but Australians don't exist
are burnout
because,
masters.
You know,
I mean, Aussies are something completely different.
no, they don't
Have you
exist. You didn't know that?
Oh my god. Have you seen their burnout competitions? They're fucking crazy.
And
They're
then you go
amazing.
to Japan where it's drifting everywhere.
And then you also have people with front wheel drive cars that have lunch trays under their back tires.
Yep.
I mean, I've thought about it.
It looks interesting.
and I got interested. I was like, yo,
I thought about it, but I only have rear wheel drive cars, so I can't really try that.
yeah, it wouldn't work for you.
Unless I took the Jeep and put it in four wheel drive and just disconnected the rear drive shaft.
I had an RSX that I used to love drifting in the snow with. Like, I would slide that thing, and it would just, like, hold the slide like it was a drift. It wasn't just sliding all over the place. It was-
Eventually, I'll learn how to
fucking
drift in my
great.
car. It'll take a little bit of time, though.
Are you gonna get a ride height reduction for that, or are you just gonna leave it as a boat?
Nah, leave it as a boat. I
Oh,
mean,
God.
ever since I replaced the sway bar links, it's actually been a lot better.
This is true, but it's
And-
still more. It still has a higher center of gravity. So if you're gonna
I
whip it
mean-
around,
Well, I also still have to fix the spring. I still have to fix. Oh shit! I still have to fix the springs in the rear.
So,
They're not sitting on their perches.
I guess it's going to be the Ron and Ed podcast once Bruce starts drifting, huh?
I'm gonna start a career. I'm gonna be.
Sorry, Bruce isn't here this week. He's in the hospital.
It's actually funny. My one coworker, he actually just hurt himself again riding dirt bikes. He actually broke his arm earlier in the year before he started working with us, and then like 3 weeks ago, he was riding, clipped a tree, and got a hairline fracture in one of his ribs.
oof.
But yeah, So then while he was out, he made the decision to sell that bike.
Yeah. If you hurt yourself on something, you might as well sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Let someone else break themselves on it.
Yeah.
It's fucking cursed.
That's why I haven't hurt myself in the car yet. I do want to replace the seatbelts, though. I don't like them.
Yeah, they're kind of...
I also want to replace the bench seat with something a little bit better. I mean, I do like the bench seat, but if I'm going to possibly be racing with that thing, I'd like some bucket seats I can actually hold myself into.
Yeah.
Of course.
Seatbelts are overrated.
I kind of like staying where I am in a car.
Yeah, I don't really want to be thrown around too much.
You ever been airborne in a vehicle?
Yes.
Yes, briefly.
Multiple times.
Have you ever done it without a seatbelt?
No, luckily.
I
I would
don't
have
want to
hurt
think about
myself
that.
a lot the one time.
Okay. What do you think the steering wheel's for?
Jeez.
They dislocate an arm.
That's how you hold yourself in place, right?
No clue what you're talking about, Ron. No clue what you're talking about.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got my truck stuck in a ditch? Ron knows all about this story. He was there when he wasn't there when it happened, but he helped me get the truck out of the impound.
All right, I've heard these stories a million times. I'm interested. You're stuck in a truck stories. How far does it differ?
Well, so I had a friend in the Air Force that had come back from the Air Force for like a weekend or a week or whatever. And he basically showed up at my house at like maybe 9 o'clock at night, and he was like, "Hey, I'm back. Let's hang out real quick." And I was like, "All right." He showed me the car he got, and we were like, "Yeah, this is pretty cool." We hung out a little bit. Some other friends showed up. And then at some point, I decided to say, "Hey, let's go back to my house, and I'll grab my truck. And then we'll go to the school parking lot." I did some sick donuts, forwards and backwards there. And that's where it should have ended.
Yeah. Mind you, he's in a giant F-150.
A 95 F-150
Okay, yeah, giant.
stock. And, I mean, technically, realistically, it shouldn't have gotten to the point where I was doing burnouts and donuts.
No, shouldn't
I
have.
shouldn't have gotten that far. But that is where I should have stopped. Because then we started racing around, going to different townships, and then we started drag racing in parking lots at like midnight.
Yep.
And then I decided to drive backwards because previously I had worked for someone and I got very used to driving my truck backwards at high speeds because it was very easy to back up into a spot to get something and then get going. Well, it turns out at a certain point it gets wobbly at like 40 miles an hour.
You know how much fucking torture you put on that transmission
And
before you put it in the ditch? Because I know that this is how you wind it up in the ditch, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was going backwards.
Which is very different than what I'm used to hearing. So, congratulations.
And I was driving backwards. It got a little squirrely, and ended up hopping over the curb of the side of the parking lot and into a ditch that was full of mud.
Which he then proceeded to try and dig himself out of and wore his tire tread down.
Well, no. The tire tread wasn't worn down from the mud. It was worn down from all the donuts. I made those things were bald by the time we got to the ditch.
Well, that's why you couldn't get out of the ditch.
Oh, no. Well, considering all four tires were sunk in the mud a little bit, and I only have two-wheel drive,
Okay,
that'll help
well,
a
that
little
too.
bit.
Yeah.
Although, funny
Bald
thing
tires.
is that at one point we decided it was like, all right, two people, because there was three of us there at the time. So it was like, all right, two people in the back. I'll get in the truck and I'll try to gun the tires and we'll try to push it out. One person was smart and stood in the middle of the truck. The other person stood off to the side and tried to push within wheel shot. Wheels spin and mud covers them from toe to top. It was hilarious. But of course, then we go and get a friend to try and help us pull the truck out. But of course, the neighbor, like maybe a block away, had already heard, called the cops. We get there, try to pull it out, and it's like, oh, well, I can't get my truck until Monday, and this was on a Friday night.
Mm.
So they had to hold my truck at the impound lot until Monday morning.
So
that was good.
$800 later.
Well, the impound was like $400, and then the tickets were like another $400.
Yeah. So the impound fee for having it stay overnight for 2 nights was about $400 something. You then had $400 something in tickets for leaving the truck there.
But the thing is, that cop was a little bit of a dick because he tried to give me 4 tickets. One of them, he tried to say abandonment of a vehicle.
Yeah.
Which in
That's what
the
they
state we
generally go after.
Yeah. But the thing is, the vehicle can only legally be claimed as abandoned if it has been sitting in the same position for more than 78 hours without any notice of the owner.
Which it didn't do that.
Which you can tell it wasn't abandoned because I had only been gone from the truck for an hour.
Yep.
So there was no way they could press me on that. Luckily, they dropped that.
Yeah, so $800 later, truck comes out of the impound lot, his wallet's hurting, and he's like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, I had to replace all the tires. I had to replace the black window because when I went in the ditch, I hit a tree that completely fucked up the rear bumper, and a branch fell down, and I guess just from the shock of hitting the tree in the first place, it shattered the back window. I had to get that replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, at the time, I could say, is I owned another truck, so I was able to swap the tires over from that, and I ended up getting rid of that truck after a while. But the lesson here, kids, is don't do stupid shit.
Yep.
Think about what you're about to do before you do it. There
And
are
if you-
consequences for your actions.
And if you do it and you feel like that's far enough, call it.
This is called Shit Talkers Anonymous. Don't listen to those two motherfuckers.
all right.
Don't think before you do things. That's how good
All
things
right.
happen. Trust
That's
me.
how, you know what? That's the thing. That's how you get stories.
This is true.
Exactly.
Get stories
If you don't
doing
think
that.
before you do something,
I mean, I broke
then you have stories.
I broke what was it, my turn signal or my headlight cover on a tree early on when I had my truck.
I broke a taillight with a boat.
Oh, I went
That's a funny one.
I went
It's
trail
the truth,
riding.
though.
I went trail riding with my truck when I wasn't supposed to. And I went around a tree. I went to go around a tree and thought I had clearance on the other tree on the far side, on the passenger side, and I didn't. So I ended up clipping it and it shattered the light cover. So
I also remember this other time I went out with my truck. It was middle of winter. Snow was all over on the ground. Decided with my brother, hey, let's go to a parking lot and just spin some tires.
I remember this.
And, I mean, nothing bad happened. All that really happened is I was trying to drift around a corner on ice in a two-wheel drive truck that spins one tire at a time.
Do you think the Japanese invented drifting so Americans could kill themselves attempting it?
Probably. But what ended up really happening is that the tires were turned drift, but the truck kept going straight. Ended up just whacking a pole. Of course, couldn't tell on my truck because it's built with thick fucking steel and you can't tell anything. I think this is probably the first time I've told this story, and I hope no one else can hear it.
Trust me, nobody's listening.
But
It's only episode 1. Nobody ever watches episode 1.
Everyone's gonna, in 10 years, someone's gonna watch episode 1 and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, he should be in jail.
Right.
He's done so much illegal stuff."
Yeah. And to think we started off talking about police reform.
right.
Yeah.
But
This took a fucking turn.
I think that's a good place to wrap this up.
I
Probably.
think so too.
Well, thank you guys for joining. This has been Ish Talkers Anonymous. I do hope we plan on doing this more often. This is actually very fun.
Ton of
is.
fun, yes.
And I'm gonna do a little self-plug real quick. So
Do
for
it.
anybody who finds this podcast, we are gonna spread this one too. We have a music podcast that we do, which we're very excited to get that started back up again. And you can always go over and watch that too. It's called the Music Shack Podcast. You can find it on YouTube under that name. We've already got a few episodes out. So by all means, if you're interested in listening to idiots talk about music for an hour, roughly, and hear their insights about different genres, by all means, go overhead. But like I said, this has been Ish Talkers Anonymous. We hope to see you in the next one.
All right.
All right.